All right, welcome everybody. As we get started with this and go over a few introductory slides, we would love for you to introduce yourself in the chat. You'll also use that as a tool to ask questions of our panelists as we go through. My name is Allison Morgan. I am a STEM program specialist with the Georgia Department of Education. I work specifically in collaboration with the First District RESA region schools and districts to help them expand opportunities related to STEM pedagogy and work towards certification. I have the pleasure of working with an amazing team. Megan McFerrin and Felicia Cullers are our two statewide program specialists. And then Rontre Brown works in collaboration with Southwest Georgia RESA. We would love for you to join the Georgia Department of Education community, the STEM community. This is an online platform for you to connect with educators, to share resources, questions, ideas, anything related to your initiatives and goals around STEM and STEAM and how to grow those efforts. Courtney Bryant, who's going to be facilitating this session, is one of our virtual specialists who is helping to facilitate that. So while Megan, Felicia, Rontre, and I are present on that site, it's also facilitated by our virtual specialists who are in the classroom, who are in schools doing this work, sharing amazing resources. And so we would love for you to connect with us there. You would just visit community.gadoe.org to sign up for a free account. We would also love for you to connect with us on social media and through our website. Our Twitter is @STEMGeorgia. We're on Instagram, and we're also on Facebook. If you do look for us on Facebook, we are the Georgia DOE STEM page. There are a couple other Georgia STEM pages out there. And so if you're looking for the information specifically that we share, that's what you want to look specifically for, that Georgia DOE STEM page. We also have a ton of resources on our website, stemgeorgia.org, resources related to certification, but also just expanding your program as it relates to community partners, and then information like this awesome session can be found on our website. So check us out for those resources as well. All right, so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Courtney Bryant. As I mentioned before, Courtney is one of our virtual specialists, and she's going to be facilitating this session with some amazing panelists. One of the questions that I'm asked a lot in my role in working with schools in my region is, where are some really great resources to get me started? And one of the things that I would challenge you as you listen to this today is, there are so many resources out there on the internet. When you Google STEM and STEAM and you Google PBL, you are immediately just overwhelmed by resources. And so what I'm hoping that you get out of today are specific resources that you can think about. What are the specific goals and initiatives at my school? What are the things that we're trying to create? And you'll be able to use these resources as a way to connect with your goals and the things that that opportunities that you're trying to expand for students. And so think about the resources that way. The advice that I give to people when they do their quick Google search is to be a filter, not a sponge. You got to filter through some of those resources sometimes to get to some really good ones. And I know that our panelists today are going to provide some amazing resources and kind of help get you on that track to finding some great resources to expand opportunities that you're bringing to students. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited to learn from our panelists and appreciate Courtney for facilitating this. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Courtney.
Thank you, Allison. Welcome to everyone. My name is Courtney Bryant. I am the Director of Fine Arts and STEAM at Drew Charter School in Atlanta, Georgia. And I have the privilege of presenting with Tracey, Wiley today, Chris Wilkerson, Heidi, Turcotte, and Kate McLeod. I'll go into more detail about who these folks are in just a minute, but as Allison mentioned earlier, I think it's very important to think about the resources that you have at your fingertips, literally virtual fingertips right now. And think about how to leverage those resources in whatever way you can to support student learning during this time. So these are just a few of the many partners that we have at Drew that we work with digitally and otherwise in different times. So I bring them forward as examples of organizations, and hopefully you will find ways to integrate the things that these folks do, and look for other organizations that you might be willing to partner with. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to share a little bit, and there we go, about Drew. Hang on, and I clicked too many times. My apologies here. There we go. All right. I wanted to share just a little bit about Drew because maybe everyone on the call isn't familiar. We have 3 schools that are a part of the Drew Charter School Network. We're a Title I school. We self-proclaimed ourselves STEAM in 2010 and added project-based learning shortly thereafter. We're still figuring out what that means and adapting to the world around us and growing what that means for us. You can see our student totals there just so you can get an idea. I find that that's helpful for you when thinking about how you might use partners and if you're in an elementary school. So this presentation is going to be geared around all 3 types of schools. So I wanted to make sure that those of you who are in the elementary school knew that this is pertinent to you, as well as folks in the middle grades and in the high school grades. So we'll go ahead and hit the next. Make sure to get the right arrow this time. There are a lot of reasons to bring in STEAM resources, but some of the biggest ones are that it supports career and technical education. It gives the students a variety of ways to see real-world connections. Incorporating the arts, so particularly pulling in arts organizations to help support in that area. We use contacts like Decatur Makers, and we'll talk about that in a minute, to support our making and really helping teachers bring that hands-on component into the classroom. It also, having the variety of resources at your disposal, you then have contacts in various disciplines to help when you're doing project-based learning or need specific subject matter support. The final thing is access to places and spaces we normally would lack due to money, age, or time. So some resources seem unavailable to students in an elementary because of the age or because of the financial resources to get there. So this helps us really think about things in a more broad term, and I will tell you that especially during this time with virtual learning being so much a part of what we're doing, these resources are particularly important and what we can do over the internet. So even if you are in South Georgia, I want you to think about and listen to, or in extreme West Georgia or different parts of the state. These resources are primarily tied to Metro Atlanta until you think about them in terms of what virtually you have available to you. So thank you all for joining. I am really excited about the individuals that have come together to support this presentation today. We've got Tracey Wiley from Georgia Public Broadcasting, and I will give you their email addresses at the end of the presentation. We've got Heidi Turcotte from Georgia Tech, and we have Kate McLeod from the High Museum, and we have Chris Wilkerson from Decatur Makers. So each of these organizations brings different fabulous things to our students and to our teachers. So I'm going to let them tell a little bit about what's available to you all at this point. So Tracey, I think it's yours to drive now.
Thank you. I get to drive first. It's very exciting. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here, Courtney. This is really exciting. I wanted to start with my Bitmoji classroom just to kind of start light and fun. This was actually a request from the Department of Education Family Engagement that GPB create Bitmoji classrooms that can be distributed for our teachers in Georgia. And I think the main reason for that is because GPB education provides so many different types of resources. It may be a little overwhelming to know what's out there and what we can provide. And so this is a nice, just fun way to summarize. So first of all, and I don't believe my cursor will appear. Oh, there it goes. So first of all, the Georgia Home Classroom, this was a virtual classroom that we created in conjunction with the Department of Education back in March when everything kind of went down and our teachers were really looking for ways to find resources in a virtual environment that were free and accessible. And we created this large virtual classroom that was linked to every single standard on the Georgia Standards of Excellence. So clicking on this or going to gpb.org/education/learn will take you to the Georgia Home Classroom, or you can just search for it and find it. So that's the main sign right here up in the left-hand corner. You'll see we also sponsor PBS Learning Media. So even though we are GPB, we are the Georgia branch, of course, of the National Public Broadcasting. We also sponsor PBS for all teachers and family and students and parents in Georgia. So you can click on this link, we'll take you to PBS Learning Media, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well in my time. Also wanted to make sure that you're aware that we do free professional development, usually in person, but of course are available virtually now, so we can set up Zoom or Teams or Google Classroom or now GoToTraining, brand new tool for me today. We can come into your classrooms that way virtually and help you and your teachers learn your way around any of our STEAM resources, whether they're from GPB, they're from PBS, they're from any of our partners. Are happy to do that. So you can email me through this, or you can fill out the form here to request PD, and are happy to help you there. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and keep up that way. So let's see, the next slide was the main slide, and this just has the two main resources I wanted to highlight for you all today. First of all, we're just going to go into PBS Learning Media for a few minutes, but I also wanted to make sure that you were aware, you were mentioning, Megan was mentioning that we were so overwhelmed with resources. And I know when I was a classroom teacher, I did not realize I had free access to PBS or GPB, and I spent all my time on Google. And it is, I was pretty much a sponge, I think, because I made all my lesson plans and all that content from scratch. And I wish I'd known that I had access to these lesson plans and these resources. I was a science teacher, so would have loved to have had the STEAM resources available to me of my knowledge. So I'm going to show you a little bit from PBS, but also we did make a list, a resource list that kind of highlights our favorites. So if you go into a library, the library picks, so this is our, as the curators of our content, these are our favorite resources for STEM, for creative exploration. So that list will also perhaps help you get started. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, see if I can share my screen. And I'm going to go on up to the dashboard here and click on screen sharing my screen. So hopefully this will work.
And Tracey, I'm just going to jump in really quick and say that while we have captions available for the entire webinar, for this quick portion while Tracey is on sharing her screen, we won't have the captions, but they will be available when the recording is publicized. So just know that going into it.
Thank you. All right, so does that look good to everyone? They can see PBS Learning Media? Yes?
Yes,
Yeah,
you're good to go.
Wonderful, thank you. So you'll notice, everyone, on the screen that I am in PBS Learning Media right now. So again, this is the public broadcasting learning management system for the whole country. Now, we of course are GPB, and so all of our Georgia-based content will go here as well. But you can also access content from California and Florida, and of course PBS, the national umbrella. So it all is available here. So it is quite a rich resource. And this, to me, is sort of the replacement of Google, because you can search, of course, for any keyword, you can search for any standard, any subject, any grade, but it's going to be appropriate for teachers. This is for the classroom, or it's appropriate for students if the students are logged in, or it's appropriate for family members. Parents can, of course, also create a free account. So you don't need any username, you don't need any kind of code. You just go in, create your free account, and then you have complete access to this content. And you can even share things without having an account. So we recommend that teachers at least open an account so they can favorite and they can create folders and they can assign things to their kids. But the students and the parents don't need an account to access all of this content. So I'm just going to do a really quick, search here for STEM, for instance. And I'm going to get some plant stems, of course, as well. But most of the things that come up are going to be STEM related: science, technology, engineering, math. And you can see currently they are sorted by relevance. So it's pulling up some STEM collections. And I'm going to go on the left here and just narrow it down to collections under resource types. Let's start there. So collections are, as they sound, there are 84 STEM collections on PBS Learning Media. And again, these are going to be all different kinds of collections. This one, for instance, is about occupations and careers, these first two. This next one, STEM Alive, are going to be educator training videos focused on STEM topics. But then there's also STEM in 30. So those are 30-minute activities and experiments that can be done in STEM, cyber learning and STEM education. And you even get into some of our well-recognized PBS series about STEM, such as Curious George. So you'll see a lot of those as well. And then you can even go into some STEM collections from other states. So we have Kentucky has made a STEM resource collection, just as Georgia has. So it is quite a very valuable, rich resource. Here's one from the FBI. It goes inside the crime labs. That's great for forensics teachers out there. And you can see there's page after page of just collections that go on and on. Sesame Street, Science Trek, Nova, Sci Girls, a lot of these you may recognize. And you'll notice that each one of them is a collection. So this is one collection, and within it is 125 resources. So when I click on the collection, then it opens up the umbrella of all of these resources. So there are 105 galleries, 146 videos for K through 8. So it does start to really kind of break it down into what you're looking for. Now, this is just kind of an introduction to you of what's available searching for STEM in terms of collections. But I can also, on the left here, I can just open it back up. And so now it's everything, 1,382 results. And I can sort by popularity, and I can see, what are other teachers using? So this particular video, 5 minutes long, it's in English and in Spanish for high school kids from Nova. This particular one is the most popular resource for STEM right now. It's stem cells, so it doesn't quite go what we're looking for. But as you scroll down, you'll start to see STEM in 30. So right here we have Rock Me Like a Hurricane, the Science of Earth's Largest Storms is the most popular STEM resource. Similar one, this one is another STEM in 30 about Voyage to the Moon. Hero Elementary, a brand new STEM series, from PBS, so that's third in popularity. So you can again start to look for resources. Here's a game, and again, lots of ways to explore it that way. I really want to highlight our interactives. I think those are so valuable, and interactives are like they sound. They are going to be these interactive lesson plans are going to be games and simulations, and there's some even modules, some professional development modules. One of my favorite interactives are going to be these interactive lessons. You can see there's two here, Happy Families and Welcome Readers. And these particular ones combine STEM with literacy. So this particular one's third grade. There's some second grade as well. And you can see that it comes with standard alignments. It comes with support materials. So there is a teacher lesson guide that goes with it. And when you launch this lesson plan, it takes you into this, it's basically an assignment that you can share immediately with your kids. So it is something that you do not have to create yourself. It's already been created for you. And so it's just again, just a place for teachers to start if they're looking for something and not having to reinvent the wheel necessarily. So this particular one, for instance, this STEM and literacy lesson is going to be about recycling, reusing, reducing, recycling, the 3 R's. You can see the little white rat here saying, I love garbage. And you'll notice that there's a menu that tells you what this is in this lesson plan, and here's where the students will save their work. You may be overwhelmed by the fact that it's 28 pages, but keep in mind that it is divided by Lexile level. So it's really 3 different lessons by low, middle, and high Lexile levels in one. So it's really, rather than 28 pages, it's more like 10 pages each for each Lexile level. So if I go to Lexile low, I will see that this is the lowest Lexile level. I can read the the text here, hit continue, and they'll take me into the different activities. So I can choose, I can even flip around from Lexile levels. So if I want to jump, to higher Lexile score for this highlight activity, because it is a, a visual interactive activity, maybe my students are very visually oriented and they can jump into this for there. And you can see that this is a highlighting activity where they can go and highlight the different words, that stand out to them. So it is, again, very interactive lesson that the kids can work with. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of some of these really hands-on resources that you can just share with your kids and not have to create yourselves. So I think I'm getting close to the end of my time. So I want to also share with you a little bit about the list here that we've made. So you can see that these are just, again, our favorites, and we've broken them up into two sections. First of all is GPB's resources. So this is content that we've created with that Georgia spin. So we have Georgia Forestry. This is going to be a virtual interactive learning journey through the Georgia forests, and it's going to highlight the STEM, the science, of course, of Georgia forests, but also the career aspect of technology, the economics of the math with the economics, because it's about how we use this resource, this renewable resource in our state. So there's a lot of STEM aspects of that as well. We also have several virtual field trips, and these are going to have STEM components. Even our civil rights movement virtual field trip has a STEM lesson that goes with it. Our slavery and freedom virtual field trip has a STEM lesson that goes with it. So we try to even expand our history virtual field trips into the STEAM aspect. We have live explorations, and those are going to be things like the Georgia Tech Makerspace, Flowers Makerspace, or else the Invention Studio, or else the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, or Okefenokee Swamp. These places where, again, we bring in these STEAM explorations as we go into these locations around Georgia. We have our Fast Forward STEAM career. This is about different kinds of jobs in Georgia specifically, and what aspects of STEAM are needed in these different career paths. And then we have Gosh Go, which is our math game for early childhood education, and we have chemistry and physics, more towards the science side. And then if you scroll down, you'll see some of our favorite STEM collections is the ones I just showed you in PBS Learning Media. And so there's Hero Elementary and Curious George and Peg Plus Cat, some for our littles. And then you get into some older children like Design Squad, STEM in 30, Nova, and some NASA engineering aspects as well, tools as well. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of these two main resources again. So PBS Learning Media that I showed you, and also some of the GPB content. And I'm going to pause there and just see if there are any questions that came into the chat box or anything I can go back over. I know that was fast and furious, but just wanted to see if there's anywhere I can pause and revisit.
As of right now, there are not any questions in the chat, but as people think of them, we'll have another possible question answer period at the end. So if you think of things for Tracey, please add them in the chat. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And just remember, any of those resources, any questions, any PD you need, please do reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions or come into your school for PD. Thank you.
Excellent. So I think I'm next, Courtney.
Correct.
My apologies. I feel like I have a Halloween costume that is the typical initials because my camera is not working. Technology is not my friend today. But I'm Heidi Turcotte, and I actually work for Georgia Tech. And yes, sometimes our tech does not work either. I am a program director over there for campus and community coordination. So I spend a lot of my time talking with researchers, figuring out different ways to push their information out into the community. Today, I'm going to kind of go through a lot of the different activities and ways that you can engage with Georgia Tech. So on my first slide here, you'll see that we do offer K-12 outreach. We also hold some STEM workshops. We have volunteer opportunities. We also work a lot with broader impact. as researchers write grants specifically for NSF, there is a long section in those grants that specifically ask you to write about the broader impact and what you can do. So many of our groups, we actually have one whole group that's their work is on broader impact. So they're creating curriculum, they're developing workshops, they're working with researchers to create teacher PDs that match up with their research. And then finally, well, like one of the little octagons there says that it's, we do a lot of curriculum development as well as teacher professional development. Okay, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So these are just 2 different programs. We do have a lot on our website, and when you go to the CEISMC website, there's a lot of different pillars because we each kind of work in different places, but I wanted to share some resources that are out there that are free to you. One is K-12 Inventure Prize. They are running it again this year. They're going to do it virtually. And so there is a curriculum guide that goes along with the K-12 Inventure. We also have a great group of people working on the smart sea level sensors. And this is primarily in Savannah area, but you can actually download the curriculum. Everybody's water levels are rising. If you look at your backyards, maybe you have a creek that runs through it, and when it really rains, it's a little bit higher each year than it was the year before. So you can watch webinars on this and then implement that curriculum into your classrooms. Okay, go ahead and switch to the next. Thank you, Courtney, I appreciate it. We also have one of our big grants. It was a 5-year grant. We spent developing curriculum that is engineering specific with math and science connections. We call this our AMP It Up program. These resources, we just created a brand new page where you can pull all sorts of different lessons. One of my favorites is the brain coral lesson. And it basically allows you to pull the worksheets that go along with it. You get the instructions for the lesson. So all you have to do is implement it right into your classroom. We have both science modules and math modules in that. One of our big projects also going on, as you can see, there's many, many things going on in one place, but we have the ear sketch competition, and we've actually partnered with Amazon. And so if you go to our teachers.earsketch.org, you'll find out that last year we worked with Common, and they went and did some free workshops in ear sketch. This curriculum is also online, and there's a big competition coming up that kids can actually create their own ear sketch coding video, music videos, I guess they are. And you can basically submit them to see if you win a prize. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so part of my role is not only working with Georgia Tech, but I also work with GTRI, which is Georgia Tech Research Institute. We do a lot of work with DOD, and they have a lot of big government research projects happening there. We are running right now an Explorers Guild, and this is a teacher professional development. The most recent one is all about podcasts. So we had our actual Georgia Tech librarians came in and gave a tutorial on how to implement podcasts into your classroom. We have one happening this week and another one happening next week, and that is working with a teacher to help create lessons so you can kind of take and bake and implement it into your classrooms. We've also worked on some STEAM from home resources, cool stuff with bio-inspired designs, the stickiness of a frog's tongue, and how we came to using that stickiness to help grab onto different things using robots. And then we also have a direct to discovery, which is, I think the best way to describe it is like Skype with a scientist. And that program has really begun to build because they are now offering curriculum that goes along with the talk. They have weather people, they have, if you know or have heard of the Flying Classroom, they are now partnering with him over there, and they're bringing different ideas into what they call direct to discovery. And I think that's my last slide. Yep. So all this information is on the Georgia Tech Seismic website, and it's free for you to utilize. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out. We're always looking for new and different ways. I will have one shameless plug here at the end that our STEAM Leadership Conference is going to happen in the spring. We're going to run it virtually, which will allow more teachers to attend, whereas in the past it's been on site and sometimes we have problems getting subs and stuff, but it will be virtual and we're really excited about it.
Thank you, Heidi. Again, please put any questions in the chat and we will take care of that at the end of the session. Thank you. And Kate, you're up next.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Favorite phrase of 2020. I'm going to see if I can share my, remind me how I share my, if I want to show a website. Apologies. You taught me, Courtney.
Basically, they've got to give you permission to share your screen. And when I think you have it now. And so, yeah, there you go.
Can you all see this, the High Museum's website?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Kate McLeod, and I am the head of School and Teacher Services at the High Museum of Art in Midtown Atlanta. I'm so glad to be here today and talking with you. We bring the A to STEAM. Everybody's been saying STEM, but I know that's a mistake. They mean to be saying STEAM. Totally fine. It happens. I'm just kidding. We're STEM/STEAM, all the things. So I wanted to share with you some free things that we have going on at the High Museum and possibilities for collaborations with you and your school. So I pulled up the High Museum's website and I just wanted to walk through some of our resources. So if you go to the Learn tab on high.org and then Students and Teachers, this is just a treasure trove of information. We have been adding our teacher resources since the High Museum's been in existence since, I think since the 80s when we started making teacher resources. My job has been slowly making them all digitized. So when you go to this page and click on virtual field trips, we have asynchronous tours available, free for download. We are slowly adding all of our special exhibitions. Right now we have one up called Picture the Dream. It's the story of the civil rights movement told through children's book illustrations. There's a great segment on the hidden figures, women. There's all original illustrations from that book is shown, as well as about 96 additional works of art. But then we also go into a science tour. It's animals and art, K through 5. But then we also have one specifically for STEAM. Right now, the one that is up, I believe, is for middle school, and slowly we will be adding elementary and high school as well. And when you click on these, you will see yours truly going through the museum, giving a virtual tour. However, with all of these, there's always a workshop, free workshop, downloadable of past STEAM workshops that we did at the High Museum. All of these are free for download as well as PowerPoint images so that you can flip through whenever it works best for you. I also wanted to share, if you go back to this main page, there's also a teacher resource link. This is kind of one that is our, I think, best kept secret. But if you go to Show Me and type in STEAM, similar to GPB, you can narrow it down by what type of resource, if you're looking for a video or something that's specifically connected to our permanent collection, grade level, subject. But I just went ahead and typed STEAM into the search window, and it pulls up all resources that we've ever had from previous workshops, from the educator conference we used to do. We skipped it this year, but with the Alliance Theater and the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. So all of those lessons that were created by teachers for teachers have been uploaded onto our website. And these are all also free for download at any time. We even have some for preschoolers. So there's even the smallest ones. We talk a lot about how an artist is like a scientist, is the approach that we take with design thinking, sort of embedded within all the work that we do. We teamed up with Georgia Tech CEISMC to really define our STEAM approach at the High Museum. So it's something that I'm really proud that we do, and hope that you can please use these resources because they are all for you. Let me see, I think that's all that I wanted to share from the website. And if I go back to the PowerPoint, it will just show, you know, I'm the capital A with the art side, so.
You're fine. They're getting you hooked up. You're good to go now.
Thanks, Courtney. So I mentioned those are all asynchronous options that we do. We also have the ability to zoom into your classroom and do some synchronous or just sort of interactive sessions with you in your classroom, which is also free. So I'm happy to do that at any time. It's just a cap of a classroom. So, you know, anywhere from 25 to 35 students. I'm happy to zoom in and us do a STEAM workshop together in your classroom. So you just need to email me. I think my email address is at the end of this presentation. And I'm happy to talk about how art weaves in science, technology, engineering, math within everything that you can see at the museum. So anytime, please take me up on that. I just do have to say a disclaimer that I am about 9 months pregnant. So I will be going on maternity leave in several weeks. But while I'm gone, I'm not available, but either before or after that, I'm happy to work with you in your classroom.
Thank you, Kate. We really appreciate it. Again, if you guys have questions for Kate, please put those in the chat. Next up is Chris Wilkerson from Decatur Makers, and I'm going to let him pick it up.
All right. Thank you, Courtney, and thank you for letting me be a part of this. I am Chris Wilkerson, the Outreach Programming Manager for Decatur Makers. Decatur Makers is a program that offers, well, we're Makerspace. Originally, Makerspaces started as hackerspaces, but more recently, Makerspaces have become the main thing, and we are one of many here in the Metro Atlanta area. We are a welcoming, family-friendly community of just inquisitive, awesome people who do tons of different things, and we offer our space as a place to come in, build, create, and do all types of really cool stuff. Our core values, as you see in the first slide, are build, share, explore. Our main thing is, if you're in our community, it's not a requirement, but it's just kind of expected that some of the things you're able to do, you're able to spread that out and give access to it to other members or people who are in the surrounding community. We offer tools, expertise from each member of the community. We have people that do 3D printing. We have people who work in our science lab that we have inside. We also we have woodworkers. We have electronics people. We have coders. Just tons of different things. And then we also offer community gatherings. So right now, a lot of our gatherings are virtual, of course, but we do gatherings such as our family build nights. We're doing one that's a social justice quilting club, and our goal is to just, again, spread all information that we can to people in the community. We'll go to the next slide. So as you see, you can see some of our membership offerings. We do offer memberships. Right now, membership, brand new membership is closed due to COVID. But once things reopen, we offer memberships at $30, starting at $30, and we have 4 different tiers of membership. And then family memberships are $60. So if you decide that you like what you see and you want to become a member, there's that option. And you have access to all those things like the woodworking spot, the DIY biolab, the laser engraving, sewing, stained glass, electronics, 3D printing, metalworking, and jewelry making. But then we have those community offerings, those things that are free. You can go to our meetup, which I listed here at the bottom. And we do things, just tons of different things. We have Arduino and the Pi user group, the Atlanta Linux Club. We have the PC Build Club, which was started by a student at Drew Charter School. Our Girl Makers Club, our SWE Next Club, and then again, I mentioned social justice quilting, where we'll have members of the community learning how to add to a quilt, and those quilts will be, or that giant quilt that we create will be part of, will be geared towards social justice. So that actually starts this weekend. So you can go to the meetup and sign up for that. The PC Build Club is another offering that will start this weekend. If you go to our website, you'll see some of the things that we've already started and that we've been doing since COVID. One of our more recent projects that'll pop up first, we put out a call to build desks, or to offer desks to community members during virtual learning, and that filled up very quickly. So right now we have 500 desks that we are building for virtual learning, and we're looking for people who we still like to have that available for anybody. Those are free. We're asking for donations for that, but if you'd like a desk, you can sign up from our website, find out which list you can get on, and you can get a desk for your virtual learner. But also on the website, we have links to our wiki, which talks about some of the tools that we use in the makerspace. That wiki is being updated every day or every week. So we're putting new things on there, such as resources that we start to pull in from outside, partners that we're starting to work with, virtual learning resources for teachers and schools and students, just some things that they can use to get over virtual learning fatigue. So not just sitting in the computer all day. We have links to our events, which will take you to our meetup page, so you can see the different things that are going on through our meetup page. And then you also get a little bit about our history. Now this is one, and this is my shameless plug because I like this program, and this is the program that I head up. This year we started, we're going to be starting, or we're jumping into our pilot for our Making Spaces program. And this program is set up to bring making opportunities to your school. We look for a group of teachers to work with, or a group of members in that school. And what we try to do is help you define your vision, or your maker-led vision, your goals for your organization, and then we help create a community of support between your school, other schools that are part of this program, and then we pull those resources together. But the whole goal is just to create an ecosystem of maker-led learning, and we want to make sure that this type of education is going out everywhere. It's specifically geared towards our towards disadvantaged schools and disadvantaged partners, so we can make sure that those areas that don't have those resources or in some ways can't afford those resources, we want to make sure that those things are available to them. We give you access to the space, either virtually or we come to you when things are safe, but you're able to use us as your primary resource to create what your maker space or your maker learning opportunities will look like inside of your school or your organization. So if you want more information on that, you can email me directly, and that email will be at the end of this presentation. You can also email me for virtual tours of the makerspace, and we'll be able to kind of walk you around and let you see what we're doing while we're there. But that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Again, so please put questions for the panelists in the chat. Here's contact information for everybody who is who's presented today. I wanted to take a second while you guys are putting questions in the chat to just talk about some of the resources that we've used from each of the organizations that presented today. Tracey talked about a variety of different things, but I can tell you and testify to the opportunities that are there in terms of the virtual field trips and specifically the career videos. Those are particularly helpful. We use those in a variety of different classes with the students. Chris Wilkerson talked about partnering with schools. Drew, we have partnered with Decatur Makers really since the inception of Decatur Makers. And the community in and of itself, just being on the email listserv that goes out is a valuable resource, because when we have a making question or a question about how to do something or where to get a resource or a mentoring question, a student who needs help on a science fair project or something like that, we put it out to the listserv and the community by and large responds. It's an amazing resource. The High Museum, we have partnered for several projects. Kate has been willing to work specifically with one of our 11th grade teachers on doing a STEAM project and trying to make a virtual and a connection to it, like an AR situation for one of their galleries. And so she's completely being real with you guys about her willingness to Zoom in and talk to the students. It's an amazing resource to have an education director who's willing to connect directly with classes of students. Georgia Tech, we've partnered in numerous ways as well. Some of the I'm thinking the Adventure Challenge. We've had students who went and competed with that. We've also watched it in the past, and it's really inspiring. Those are some ways that we've connected with these individuals in the past and their organizations. I would if there are questions, I'm looking back here.
Courtney, I'm not seeing any questions come through yet, but
Okay.
one of the things that I also wanted to echo that you said kind of at the beginning is a lot of these resources, are physically based in Atlanta. But I think one of the things that is coming out of the pandemic, and just we're all in a virtual setting that maybe we didn't anticipate, is the ability to connect with all kinds of resources. And in addition to that, the willingness of partners to be able to hop in your classroom for an hour or to do more things. So one of the things that I just wanted to make sure that the folks on here in our audience who are not in the metro Atlanta area are thinking about is, what are the needs and the things that you and the opportunities and the things that you want to connect your students to, and who are those partners out there that traditionally you may not have been able to reach out to because of driving and school buses and trying all those transportation costs. But our world is open to just something different, and so I think it's going to really transform education, and it's one of those things that's not really going away, I don't think, once we are kind of out of this pandemic teaching. You know, thinking about the use of virtual and kind of thinking about this hybrid situation, especially as it comes to partners. So if you're not in the metro area, I would just encourage you to think about, you know, who's out there that you would love to bring to those specific opportunities and needs. And the other thing that you have talked a lot about today without specifically mentioning is that there's a specific purpose for each of these partners. You know, you're not just out there saying, who is out there in the STEAM world or the STEM world that I can connect with, but each partnership plays a very specific role in something that either, you know, your students at Drew Charter are doing, or the teachers have plans for, or an opportunity or a gap that you have seen in the school community, and you want to fill it with that community partner. And so as you guys are looking for curriculum resources and partnerships and ways to kind of bring that authenticity to your standards, really be purposeful and think about, how does this resource support specifically what the need is?
And I would even go so far as I'm pretty purposeful in thinking about, well, do we have resources available for engineering? Do we have resources available for the fine arts? You know, what are those resources? And looking at gaps in a very literal way.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that you have done really well and have showcased well in this session today, is that the resources, you know, as we said at the beginning, there's just a plethora of resources out there, but you've been very specific in saying, how are these supporting our specific goals at Drew Charter? And I think that's the key with curriculum resources and with partnerships, because there's so much out there. There's also some really great conversation just happening in the chat. I feel like there's a whole brainstorming session happening in the chat right now for people who are thinking about, you know, ways to include, you know, some of these ideas, or it's like a springboard, because I feel like once you have the one idea, then you can kind of snowball that idea into lots of different things. And so I'm excited to see that happening in the chat right now. Yes, good point, Megan.
Yes, I was going to add that as well. I will be posting this video online in the forums area. So please make sure that if you would like access to the video here and the resource, and please, you know, start up a conversation with me online. I would really value that connection with folks outside of you know, who I normally talk with. So,
and Courtney does a really great job, you guys, of thinking about specific resources that might help you with your goal. I've seen her do that in, you know, in a session. So she's a great brainstorm partner. So we would love for you to keep that conversation going in the Georgia Department of Education community platform. Post the questions, you know, start a conversation after this video is posted. There is one specifically for elementary, middle, and high school, so you can even look at those grade level specific needs and opportunities. Looks like maybe our partners here just answered a bunch of questions and spurred some really great ideas. I'm not seeing a ton of questions come through.
I'm not either.
Thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you so much to Courtney for facilitating this. It's been a great learning experience for me, and I'm sure also for you guys in the audience. So I just really appreciate your work with this, Courtney, and your collaboration with these panelists. And panelists, thank you so much for your time today to share amazing resources and ideas. I know that our audience members will take all of these ideas and run with them, and then share them with their school and district communities. Anything else, Courtney?
There was a question about how do you schedule a virtual tour at Drew Charter. We are still trying to work that out. So find me in the DOE community forum and we'll talk about it. We're still trying to figure out what that looks like for us. So I'm not saying no, I'm saying we'll talk.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we will see you back soon for another session. Thank you guys so much.